Hello, welcome to my channel. Tonight I felt like doing a very casual just chatting video because I enjoy this type of video. It's so magical, right? Like it's like telepathy. Like you make pixels on a screen and then like you're projecting it psychically across the internet into someone else's bedroom, and it's like you're projecting your thoughts right into their head. So I just think it's kind of magical. So I just felt like chatting. And I have a few conversation topics planned, but I didn't want to get too rigid about it because I feel like that's kind of boring. Like it's a little bit freeform. But the main topics I wanted to talk about are creative pursuits and social relations, and maybe how they mix a little bit. But first, I want to start with a funny image that I saw today. Like, not quite funny, it just really stuck with me. It resonated with me. I was processing payments for like Santa Claus photos. It's a job. And so it's so interesting. These little kids, a lot of them are really scared of Santa Claus. And I think, like, with the babies, right? It's because it's like a strange man. Like, they don't really know what's going on. And then maybe a little bit older, like, they kind of know, they believe in Santa Claus as like a magical being, and that's kind of like a little weird. Or like, they've seen 5 different Santa Clauses this year, and then he doesn't remember them, and it's just like, it's really odd. Like, it kind of messes with your brain, right? So these kids are so scared, and like there's just this vivid picture of like these babies' faces contorted in agony and their faces wet with tears, and their parents are like smiling into the camera, and they're all wearing matching Christmas sweaters. And I just think that's so funny. And like, do you ever wonder, like, do babies get tired of crying? Like, as an adult, it's really strenuous to cry like that. So you gotta imagine those babies are like that's really tough for them. Like, are you really inflicting that on your kid for a Christmas card? But I don't know, I guess it's kind of cute. So on the topic of creative pursuits, so I'm reinventing myself, as always. Like, the best artists reinvent themselves, right? Like, why are you doing the same thing? That's so boring. Like, do you really want to be remembered for only one single thing in your life? Like, oh, I got good at one thing. Oh, and I got financial success off this one thing, so I just kept doing it. Like, no offense to syndicated cartoonists, but that's not for me. So in terms of creative reinvention, like, I have so many projects. I have projects I've been promising people. I have collaborative projects where everyone else met the deadline, and now I have to put it together, and I did not meet my own deadline. So I think I love collaborative projects. I want collaborative projects where the person organizing it is a go-getter and will put things together, because I can meet someone else's deadline. I cannot meet my own deadline, which is the hardest thing. So I know, I just need to get better at it, but I would love to like collaborate with more artists who really have it together, you know what I mean? And like, I would love to go down in history as like a really cool like friend group, like an art movement. Like, you ever read those books and it's like there's a picture and it's like a certain school or art movement, and they're all just like friends, they're just hanging out, like they're just social climbers, but they just did something really cool in history, and I would like to do that. So I'd love to meet more artists, because, like, let's face it, like, I don't make a lot of effort to like maintain relationships. Like, no, I meet a lot of people, right? I meet a lot of people, but do I actually follow up? Do I actually make plans? No, because the vulnerability of it is really scary. And when it comes to an artist, right, like creative vulnerability in that sense. And like, also, like, I have some bad preconceptions about it. Like, when you think about these like groups of artists, like, a lot of them, like, there's kind of sleazy stuff going on there. So I have this stereotype in my mind that artists are sleazy, so I gotta watch out. Because, I'm not about that open relationship stuff. Like, no, I want a hermetically sealed relationship. Like, stay out of my business like that. So I guess in that way I'm a little scared of like meeting new people. And like, okay, it's not my fault. Like, I get burned, and like, I know that's a part that like, that's part of life. Like, you get burned and you recover, but like, sometimes it can be so bad where like I'm not gonna get into details, but just imagine like people like really inserting themselves into your lives like that in like a scary way. So but at the same time, like, even my friends who are like not flawless, but they're flawless, like, I struggle a lot to reciprocate friendships, like initiating plans with people. Like, I will never initiate a plan and then I'll complain about being friendless. Like, it's kind of bizarre. So it's really not about meeting more people, it's really about you know, working on some issues. But I felt so attacked when I watched Joker Folie à Deux. And like, this is not spoilers, okay? But there's a scene where someone, the prosecutor calls Joker friendless, and some other things that really resonated. And you know, I've always been someone who identified as friendless, but I've kind of been changing my thoughts on that recently because I was reading Emily Carr's diary and she really talks about herself as friendless. And I was like, girl, be for real. Like, you're friends with a group of 7. Like, what are you talking about? And like definitely the way people see their own relationships. Like, I think, especially people who are maybe more introverted, they tend to take a more negative view on things. Like, I think you just have to learn to appreciate the value in your relationships with others without necessarily like criticizing it of like, this is what a friendship should look like. So that's definitely something to work on. And like, I see so many people talk about being friendless and lonely, and from an exterior perspective, I'm looking at them and I'm like, you are not friendless, you're not lonely, like, you talk to so many people all the time. So maybe I need to turn that around on myself and re-examine myself a little bit. And also, like, when you think about when you start saying that about yourself, like, oh, I'm friendless, I'm introverted, like, I'm a hermit, I'm spending all my time in the house, like, yes, you're gonna reinforce that. Like, if you are hanging out in a group of people and you say I'm friendless, like, of course you're not going to make friends with people because you're not going to open up to people and be a friendly person. So that's something I have to work on. But I think that like probably a lot of people are struggling with this right now because it's just so hard to connect, right? And like, you often have these like passive connections. Like, how many people do you know who maybe you consider them a friend, but like, when's the last time you really talked? Like, you just send reels back and forth and you react to the reels, and maybe you like a little bit of small talk, but like, when have you really like been vulnerable and connected? I feel like it's just so difficult, you know. I bet it's always been difficult. There's always been barriers to that, so there's really no excuses. But that's just something I've been thinking about recently. And in terms of meeting other artists, okay, this is something difficult to me, is like meeting artists in your local community, because I feel like meeting artists on social media, it's like you don't have that sense of competition of like there's just kind of like a mutual respect, right? But sometimes when you meet artists in your local area, it's way more easy to get in competitive mindset. It's way easier because, like, okay, it's a false belief. Okay, there is enough success to go around. We can all be successful, and encouraging the success of your fellow artists instead of acting bitter and jealous towards them will increase the likelihood of success for yourself, right? But it's so easy when you see people in your community who are doing well to be like, oh, they got this show, they did this, and that's why I didn't get it, right? And I think a lot of people suffer from this. Like, it's just so easy for that to happen. But, and I think that's why it can be hard to like actually connect with your community, because it's like that is such a mindset that's instilled in people. And like, you know, it's hard because, yeah, being an artist can be like, when you're trying to make money off your art and be successful in that kind of like societal standard way of success of like money, you know, it puts a lot of pressure on you. Like you think that someone's a better artist because they're getting more grants than you. Like, do you actually think that? And like, for me, like, money, like making money off of art, right? Like I actually don't want to. And like, I can see how that would be like people might think of like it could be an excuse, okay? It's an excuse not to take myself seriously by saying I don't want to make money off my art. Like, I'm not gonna put myself out there in that way. But no, it's really that I see money and art as very separate things, okay? But at the same time, some people do see money as a spiritual sort of thing, of like almost a spiritual measure of your success in the sort of like an energy, like a way to measure your energetic level, which I don't know, like, this is kind of where the new age stuff goes into some very interesting some interesting pathways. So like, I'm not saying I agree with that stuff, I'm just, that's a perspective. But for me, like, art is so spiritual. And I think that's why in the winter, like, okay, I'm not gonna suffer from seasonal depression and sit in my bed and not make any art this winter, because the winter is such a spiritual time of year. And like I'm specifically talking about like snow, cold winter. Like a lot of artists live in these climates, right? And so you need to look at their work of what they were making in the winter to be inspired. Like like a lot of paintings of like winter landscapes, they capture how spiritual winter can be, because like the sunlight hitting just a field of white snow, like doesn't isn't that absolutely mind-blowing? Like you can definitely get into this melancholic mindset of like the darkness of winter and like the sleepiness of winter and hibernating, and you're not really creating in this sort of blossoming sense. But at the same time, like it is possible to find the beauty in it and be very inspired in the winter. And like the sky in winter can be so beautiful, like those early sunsets and just the colors. Like one thing that I've had to challenge myself with is getting out of bed in the winter and going outside while there's still sunlight, because like a lot of people who suffer from seasonal depression, like part of it is they're not going outside. And like this is, I'm talking about myself in the previous times, is like by the time, like especially like if you work nights, right, by the time you wake up the sun is already down. So a little trick, a little hack is like wake up while the sun's still out and go on a 20-minute walk. And even if you have to go back to sleep so that you can be rested enough for work, like you do not even understand how much that, like, 20 minutes of sunlight could actually change your whole day and the course of your day. Because like this is something I struggle from. It's like I need a nap to make myself more rested, and then I'll feel more productive. And like but then I'm taking a nap and I'm sleeping 10 hours, right? But then if I'm waking up early, I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sleep deprived, like I barely got any sleep. But I go on a walk and then I'm up all day and I'm being productive, and then I'm not even that tired at night, and I get like a kind of a decent sleep and I'm up the next morning. Like it can be so different. Like if you let it, like if you stop thinking that, like it's inertia, right? Like you think that the rest will make you more productive. No, it's like the productivity will make you more productive. And it's very important to rest, okay? It's very important to take care of your body, because your body is so precious, right? So like you really need to make sure your body is well rested. But at the same time, take care of your mind. And just sitting in bed all day and not really doing anything, that is not good for your mind. Like you need the inspiration of actually activity. Activity and creativity is what will inspire you to be more creative and actually work on your projects. I don't want this video to run too long, so maybe I'll just talk about a few more things and then we'll cut it short. I was thinking recently about like the holidays. Okay, I mean, it's holiday season, like I was mentioning with Santa Claus. So maybe this video is not so timeless, because it's quite related to what I'm thinking about right now. But I guess there's a lot of holidays throughout the year. You know the song, I'll be home for Christmas, you can count on me. One thing about me is you cannot count on me to be home for Christmas. I will avoid situations that are putting me in proximity with people around the holidays. Like I will not go home for Christmas. I will, like, okay, recently it was my boyfriend's birthday on Thanksgiving weekend, right? And I probably could have worked things around in my work schedule to visit him on his birthday, right? But because it was on Thanksgiving and the pressure of spending Thanksgiving with his family, I literally was like, no, sorry, I have to work. Like, what a stupid excuse is that? Because I'm scared of a holiday. But like, it's crazy. Like, holidays really are, they're that significant to you. Like it's how you mark the passing of the year. Like, and when you have a lot of things built up around the concept of holidays or on specific holidays, tradition, that sort of thing, like it can be so, and that's why it's bad, because so many people love the holidays. They're so happy, and it sucks being a downer. Like with Christmas, like people always talk about, oh, the candles on the tree, like oh, Christmas morning. Like, okay, what do I remember about Christmas from my childhood? My mom being angry, or depressed. And like it's like, I'm not blaming my mom, I'm just saying that's my memory of it. And like there were a lot of circumstances contributing to that. So that's why, like, for me, the holidays, I'm a bit of a Grinch, I'm a bit of a Scrooge. Like, I'm not really having fun. But there are a lot of Christmas songs I really like. Like, okay, I've come around on the Paul McCartney Wonderful Christmas Time song, because at first I was like he phoned it in, like listen to the instrumental, okay? And you're like, what is going on? But now I kind of appreciate it. You know, it's literally the bare bones simplicity of like Christmas. Because Christmas is such a theme, like it's so easy to just make a Christmas song. So that's one thing I would recommend to artists is find like a symbolic theme that you can just work on that has been throughout history. Like there's so many, you know. And it's so easy, like if you're ever lacking inspiration, just think about, you know, and like not so simple, like well, I mean, it can be simple. It could literally be like love or death. But you can think about like a holiday or a tradition or a character in history, and like this is why like archetypes are really interesting, you know. The archetype of the fool, like Joker. Like that's such a wonderful archetype to work from, so inspiring. Um and other Christmas songs I like. Okay, the Justin Bieber Mistletoe song. My boyfriend said he never heard it, which I just like. Is that even true? Like, was he doing a bit? And I didn't understand, because that song is just incredible. Like, I should be playing in the winter snow, but I'm gonna be under the mistletoe, shoddy with you. Like that is incredible lyricism. Like, and like we should be playing in the winter snow. Like I challenge you, if you're somewhere snowy and you're depressed, like I challenge you to go out and play in the snow. Like just play. And like if that causes some reaction to you, like, oh, I don't want to play in the snow. Like grow up, become more mature, and you will understand that you should be playing in the snow. Like I saw this group taking family photos with Santa Claus, and they said to the one, you know, like the grandfather, "Do you want to take a photo with Santa?" He said, "I'm 65, not 5." Like, okay, you just showed everyone how fully immature you are. Just take a photo with, like... So I would say the message for today is really remember to play, to have fun. You know, it's so much complicated stuff going on in life, but, you know, all you need to think about is what is fun. Although, you know, maybe with a little bit of moral grounding in there, because, you know, maybe if your sense of fun is a little bit hedonistic, like your sense of fun can maybe make other people's lives less fun. So have morally conscious fun, and remember to play. All right, thank you for watching.